Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And if you do have any questions or comments, we will pause hopefully at a couple of points if you do want to ask questions. Otherwise, please pop them in the chat. I Yeah, hopefully you'll find this session interesting and informative. So if I can just get my slides to move. Right. Okay, so we're just going to do a little bit of a refresh again. We're going to look at a couple of other concepts. Um, uh, we are going to explore the developing of or what is a prompt template and how to create one, and give you a couple of examples of what you can potentially do with a template. But to start the ball rolling, we are going to make you do a little test. So you can either visit this website or use your phone and the QR code to join our Slido, which is a interactive quiz. So please go ahead and join if you can. Okay, so let me just... Sorry. Okay, so hopefully some of you have been able to join. The link will appear on the other slides as we go along. So okay, so there are going to be a couple of questions. Okay. Okay, so almost half of you have joined, so I'm going to start off. Okay, should I wait a little bit longer then? Okay. All right, so you've got 30 seconds to answer the first few questions. So lock in your answers. Okay, so the vast majority got it correct. Well done. So clearly our workshop is working. You are learning something. Here's the next question. Okay, a 50-50 split. Let's see. So half of you got that one right. The next one. Oh, okay, that was a trick, kind of a trick question because the correct answer is llama. So remember, you've got your open models, which are freely available pretty much to anybody to create a chatbot with, llama being one of those. The others are proprietary systems. So yes, it was a bit of a trick question. You can blame Annalisa for that one. Okay, so yeah, once again, a little bit of a trick, a red herring there. Um, if that had not been chain of shot, but had been chain of thought, you would have been correct. Otherwise, the majority of you, few shot, yes, well done. Well done. The vast majority of you got that right. So yes, we don't consider visual components part of the prompt component. Um, okay, now some nice short true and false ones. Well done. The majority got it right. Well done. Excellent. Well done. And I think we are nearly at the end. Excellent. So there we go. Our top 5. Let's see, it's the home team that seems to have taken it. So congratulations to our UWC members, and um, your prize will be in the post. Okay, so just thank you for taking part in that. So we are just going to a brief little recap just to remind how the AI process works. You've got the chatbot that you basically interact with, and that is the natural language encoding and so on that then passes it on to the actual AI model, which is using the neural network computing to then break down that in your question, looking for associated terms, uses that massive store of data that it has collected, or the people who've built the AI model have collected, and uses that to generate the response. Then just also, obviously, there are a variety of different chatbots. So each of them may have a different way of interacting. For example, voice, hybrid, the social messaging chatbots, which I've been accused of manipulating content for uh, elections and so on. And then the voice ones obviously are the kind that you can interact vocally with. So you might even get now banks, for example, could have something like that. Some of these calls that you get, unsolicited calls, you'll notice on our chatbots, which you can actually interact with. The hybrid is a combination of a human and AI, so perhaps either monitored by a person, or where a chatbot is unable to respond to a query, it will then refer you to a human. You may have come across that kind of thing also with when you're interacting perhaps with an insurance company or something along those lines. They will then refer you to a human if the query is something they can't answer. And yeah, so there are a whole variety of these different types of chatbots. They may share a AI model in the background, but they will all appear different. Okay, then, so just once again to reiterate, so you've got the chatbot interface, what we just went through. Chain of thought prompting, which we'll go into a little bit more detail now, basically is the process of breaking down or either breaking down your prompt into various steps, or asking the AI to respond in a step-by-step manner. Prompt patterns and templates and recipes. Templates and recipes are kind of interchangeable. So we're going to mainly focus on templates. Patterns are a way of structuring your query based on how you want your output to be presented, either or how you want it understood. And then the template writing process is basically identifying what you wanted to do, trying to break. So your template is usually used for repetitive tasks. So you would look at how you could structure that in order to make it the most reusable, repeatable process. You'll see we have an example of a template a little bit later, and you'll see how it could be, how you could apply that principle to a template. Okay, so just once again, just to remind you, so you've got your various uh, uh, components. So the most important is your actual instruction. So that is the key task that you are giving the AI. The context is also very important. So explaining how you, so perhaps if that is you are working with undergrad students or within a certain environment, you need to, so the instruction will make use of that context to understand the AI, for the AI to understand what you are anticipating from it. The role is where you basically assign the AI, you tell it you are a expert in, or you are a instructor, you are a very good writer of crime novels, whatever persona you can think of, you can get the AI to assume. Um, so those are sort of your perhaps your top three. So, but the role once again is not essential. Succinctness is obviously trying to keep your prompt as clear and as unambiguous as possible. Always, if possible, provide an example. So you may, and that can sometimes also feed into this role. So you could say, I give this is an example of my writing. I want you to write in the same style as I've written this email, and then provide the prompt. The format also, so that your AI companion understands what output you want. I want a table, paragraph, bullet points, etc. I see an Excel spreadsheet, if it's got that ability, an image, or so on. And then adjustment really just feeds in after all of these have been, you've made your prompt, you've applied all of these particular criteria, and then your adjustment will feed back into that, and you may need to then discover that you need to refine to make your prompt clearer and easier for the AI to understand. So just those, just to bear in mind when we get to the point where, and you'll see some of these in place when we look at some of the templates and prompts we've created. Okay, so once again, just reiterating that, make sure you have a clear understanding of the desired outcome. Um, put all your elements in a particular, so it's always good to start with that statement, or to set the persona and certain and break down that prompt into particular points, structures as you go along. Once again, that'll become clearer when you actually see a couple of examples. Obviously, the drafting refers back to the switching, going and testing your um, uh, prompt and refining it further after those various trial runs. And then once you've got a prompt that does what you want it to do, then you A for away. Okay, so once again, just another reiterate what you've got there, chain of thought. Um, you've got your so you basically end up with a prompt. Either you provide the steps, or you can instruct the AI to use steps. Show me the steps that you use to get to this particular answer. Um, there's also where you link a whole lot of various prompts together. So to kind of clarify, your chain of thought is one particular prompt, and you are working through the steps. The prompt chaining is where you basically build on one prompt to the next and keep going. But remember now if I included, okay, so chain of thought, step-by-step reasoning. So you don't want, so like with a zero thought, often you, sorry, zero prompt, you will get, it'll just basically take you straight to the answer. You want to be able to see the steps. So like with that example we had with the bridge crossing, you when you asked it, okay, I would like you to show me the steps of where, you know, how you calculated your answer, then you'll be able to see where the AI went wrong, and you can then explain, or attempt to explain what you wanted to do differently. It doesn't always, unfortunately, work that way, but that does at least give you the transparency to understand how it made that decision, why it chose to send Alice back across the bridge in most cases, even though it wasn't necessary. And with some further probing, you can you can ask the AI why it chose that particular approach. Okay, so yeah, just another. So there you've got the standard prompting, gives you the answer. And then here you can basically encourage it to map the answer and give you the breakdown of the correct, how it worked out the answer to your question, particularly useful in a mathematically based question. So just to reiterate why you want to go this route and why you would like to see it. So 0, one shot without the chain of thought, direct answers, while the other gives you shows you how it got to the answer. It also encourages this chain of thought, encourages the AI to look at the question. I know it sounds like we're anthropomorphizing the AI, but it makes it look at it with a little bit more detail, and perhaps explore potential answers with a little bit more depth, because there is more content to work with. And like it said, it will give you that chance to check if there's an error in the reasoning steps. So particularly if you're sitting with a kind of AI issue that you're not sure that you're getting the correct answer, it would be better to perhaps approach it with a chain of thought approach. Just one thing to bear in mind, obviously chain of thought, and depending on the length of the query, is going to use up more tokens. So you may encounter that context window if you are having an extremely detailed chain of thought prompt. But I hope in most cases it's unlikely you will get there, but it can happen, especially if you're uploading perhaps additional data into your, so perhaps you uploading a spreadsheet and you're now asking it to do analyze particular data and then provide you the step-by-step analysis. Yeah, I'll try and okay, so here's just a kind of example of chain of thought. So this is where, you know, we're asking for the AI to well, give us the answer in step by step. Now, we don't always have to be explicit in explaining what we want, which is a little bit sometimes a bit of a disadvantage. So we could have added within this particular prompt that we wanted to it to, sorry, I've just lost my mouse now. We wanted to it to demonstrate what we are trying to. So in this prompt, we could have, oops, this is what happens when you try and draw on a screen. we wanted, we could have included in that prompt that we want to see the reasoning and the breakdown of the response. But you can see by the answer that it's done that. It's listed each of the titles, identified which ones are uh, fiction and non-fiction, gives us a count, and then provides a whole variety of different examples of how we could now go about displaying and using a related event and so on. Um, so, sorry, I've lost my mouse again. Okay. Okay, so just also to talk about prompt patterns. So this is a case where basically you apply a certain structure to the prompt, making use. So this is just a couple of, there are multiple ones, just three that I've made an example of. Well, we'll see an example of each. The persona, where basically you telling the AI, I want you to adopt a particular personality. The flipped interaction pattern, where you basically the AI will ask you the questions in order to develop an answer for you. And then the recipe pattern, where basically will give you step-by-step output on how to achieve a particular outcome. So especially when you're creating templates, it's useful to use these patterns because then it will give you a more consistent response, because these have been developed with an understanding of how the AI is going to interpret these patterns. So it gives you a little bit more control over the outputs. Like I said, it's more consistent, and just makes it easier for you to understand how to structure your particular prompt. So if we look at an example, say, of the persona prompt, it basically acted like a historian and describe the significance. So we're telling the AI you are a historian, and then giving it the task. And you could apply any, you are a really good librarian, and describe the significance of the French Revolution, and hopefully it would figure out a way of doing. So the flipped, okay, here you've once again, I want to ask the questions to guide the process. So it's telling the AI at this point that I want you to basically focus on giving me the questions. So there's your uh, process guide. And there is an example of how the AI would go about um, giving the response. And here's another example of the recipe. So generate the recipe writing, and basically will give the various steps on how to achieve the goal. Okay, so here's just another example of a prompt template. So here's the initial prompt. So this would be like your one-shot prompt. Now, perhaps you want to reuse that prompt, and then you can place these placeholders within the prompt. So just to give you another example of how that could look, and I keep losing my mouse. I apologize about that. It's working with 3 screens. Ah, there it is. Okay, okay, so here is a more relevant example to a library environment. So you'll notice, so the prompt, the top bit there. Okay, so here is our initial prompt. Here you'll notice we have now put in these placeholders and you, oops. And then so I'm now asking, so this is my template. I now have placed within those placeholders these terms that I wanted to do. And you'll see at the bottom there, this is the AI generated review of the book. So because we used the type of text option here, you'll see that in the next one, I changed it to a Facebook post. And here is the review in a format that is friendlier for Facebook. And here is an example of a Twitter post. But now that's all well and fine, but you don't want to have to now go about placing these things in individually. So let me just get control of my mouse again. Okay. So I just want to now, sorry, just get some of my screen space here. So I just want to show you an example of this sort of thing in action. So let me just get my okay, just give me a moment because now, as would luck would have it, okay. Let me just share my screen again, and I want to share this one, that one. Yeah, just move that there. Okay, so let me just check you've seen the right thing. All right, so going back to that prompt that you just saw, the one asking it to create, if I now create a small little spreadsheet, so you could technically do this for as many as you need with the relevant headings of the columns. And I see I actually made a little mistake there. So by creating a little spreadsheet and saving it quickly into my downloads as a CSV, because that tends to work a little bit better with, let's just change that name quickly. Just so I can give you that example. So now checking. Okay. So I'm just going to use Copilot because it just so happens that I think I've used up my tokens with pretty much every single other AI at the moment. So I can add that template, upload it quickly. And now I've just realized I don't actually have. Just need to quickly copy my prompt out because I forgot to do that beforehand. Okay, so you don't have to, okay, yeah, so first I need to just tell it. Use the, oh, oh, all right. Check you're seeing what I'm seeing. Great. Okay, so there's my persona. Here is my task. Here are my template placeholders. And hopefully this won't let me down like it did. All right. Okay, so the as usual, I get caught out by my AI not doing the same thing twice. So yesterday I got it to do the entire list in one go, but it is going to. So now you'll see it's doing the next one as a Twitter post. And if we go back to our spreadsheet, you'll see Twitter posts. Was the option selected? And where have I lost my, sorry, okay. And so on and so on, all the way through that list in the various formats that I am looking for. So this was for a Facebook post. And uh, and so on and so on. So this template needs a bit of tweaking in order to make sure that it produces all the responses I require, but I'm sure you get the idea of how potentially useful this is. So you could create a spreadsheet of, you could use it for rostering, for example. You would just need to make sure you put all the required information in. You would say the library is open the following number of days, for the following number of hours. Here's my list of staff. They're only allowed to work X number of hours. I want them, these people, you could basically put any criteria in, and in theory, use the AI to generate any kind of template, and you can, or response from a template where you're uploading whatever information. So those placeholders, basically, you can then fill using, and you can see I didn't even need to tell it explicitly which columns to use. It basically could work it out for itself. So has the potential to make your life a little bit easier. And I think, if I recall, I am going to be handing over to Annalisa at this point, who is going to, I think, talk a little bit about prompt templates. So Annalisa, do you need me to carry on sharing the screen, or?
I need to share my screen, Janusz.
Okay, I will stop sharing. There you go.
No problem. Okay, so colleagues, I'm now coming in to just demonstrate this particular AI that we chose to demonstrate prompt templates for today's section, which is Max AI. So Max AI, you just go on a Google search and type Max AI and it will come up. So once you click on it, it will ask you to add an extension to Chrome, which will enable you to have a feature Yes, I'm not sure if you can see my screen where I am roving my cursor. So to have this option here, where you can open up the sidebar, summarize your chart on whichever page you're working on, you need to install the Chrome browser. So on my side, I've already done that. So if I click on Add to Chrome, it will actually ask me to remove from Chrome. So for someone who has not installed the browser yet, then they will have that option that says Add to Chrome. Okay, so that plugin or extension allows me to go into my Max AI tool and open up the sidebar so I can chat in the full page. Okay, so that is what it has loaded now. So in terms of Max AI has preloaded templates, and I'm trying to get to that now. Okay, so Max AI has preloaded templates on a variety of categories. So I haven't explored all of them, so I don't even know what other categories refer to. So it's quite a few templates. Obviously, we're using the free version, so there may be more templates in the paid for version. Okay, so on this interface, you can see these are the public prompts, and over here on the right hand side is your own prompts after you have signed in, and the prompts that you get to generate and store on your Max AI dashboard. So if I click onto my own prompts, okay, so here, is it loading? Right. Okay, so now that I've filtered the prompts to my own prompts, it's showing me only the 2 prompts that I have managed to add onto my profile. So with the prompt examples that Yanush has been going over, so what you actually do here, because we are trying to prevent writing out a prompt all over again each time you need to do a monthly awareness on a database or on creating awareness of, for instance, this month is cybersecurity awareness month. It also happens to be breast cancer awareness month. So instead of rewriting the same prompt to achieve a similar objective, we then create these prompts and store them so that you can replace the details in the placeholder, which you can also refer to as variables, to suit the task that you need at the time. So for instance, with this prompt over here, if I click on the edit, this is my prompt, I loaded it. So if I click on edit, I am able to copy the prompt and insert it into a new chat. And then when I do that, I will just replace the information in the placeholder as well as that second placeholder. So depending on the structure of your prompt, what you want to achieve with it. So I just loaded this basic one so that I don't struggle when I want to create a social media awareness post or observing whichever month I would like to create awareness on. I've just put it here, and obviously just for it to make sense. So for me, I would insert UWC library because I'm at UWC, but for some of you, you may be at CPUT libraries, or you may be at City of Cape Town library, or a specific library even, City of Tshwane library or Brackenfell library and so on. But if you use my prompt, which I'm just going to paste on the chat. If you use my prompt, you are basically going to just replace the placeholders as I've just explained. So, but you can still store it in your Max AI and any other AI that has the functionality or capacity to store prompt templates. Okay, so I'm just going to paste onto the chat a few other examples which I came up with, and are generic and could be applicable to most of us in this session today. So I'm just going to paste them on the chat and you can test out and use as you wish. Did I send the first message to Judith only? Okay, I think I made a
They
mistake.
haven't come through yet.
Yeah, come on. Okay. Oh, my message is too long. My apologies. What happened here? Okay. Okay, because my message is too long, I wasn't aware that there's a limit. Okay, so that is the first prompt template. I've inserted it on the chat. And the second one, okay, so it's the library resource promotion template. I'm also going to paste it in the chat. Did my chat feature go? Okay. I think the last one is the most simple one. Okay, so this one, I use this one as a build up from our previous session where we had used this example on 2 different models last week. We used the prompt last week without the placeholders. So this week we're trying to generate the prompt template using the same prompt from last week. So for this one, for example, I just copied that in the chat so that you are able to try and test out from your side. But now I'm back to my Max AI dashboard. I'm now going to add that template as a new template here. So there I'm pasting my template. Just going to remove that. Okay. Then if I scroll down, I leave everything else as is. Then I just need to insert the mandatory field. I'm just gonna name my template lecture planning. And in terms of description, it's to provide a lesson plan and practical for the lecture. Okay, so that's the description so that it makes sense to me, or if I happen to share it with someone else, then they are able to make sense of it, of why did I create the prompt, or why, what is it meant to achieve. So now I have about 3 prompts in my Max AI dashboard. So let's say now I want to use that one. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is okay. So I've inserted that prompt into my chat, so that it can start creating a response. And what you see here, you are able to customize your Max AI to only work with one model. So if I do this, it will only use one model, as you can see. So if I click on the second pane, which says chat with 2 AI models, then any chat that I insert here will be generated from 2 models, okay? So if I select the one with the 3 panels, it will add one more chat, but as Janusz has explained earlier, there's tokens involved in this, so you don't want to use up all your free version limits. But should the need arise, you may at least try and use 2 AI models. And on this part of the screen, you are able to swap around the different models that are loaded on Max AI. So currently I've defaulted on the GPT-4 Mini and Claude. So what I'm doing now from my prompt template library, excuse the payment information that keeps coming up. So from my prompt template, I've just placed it here without populating the placeholders. Okay, so if I click on this, if I click on it to generate a response now, okay, so it's generating a response, but it's still not, it did not insert the context or the components that were referred to in the earlier session. Who am I referring to in terms of this prompt? What is the context? What is the topic? And all the other details that are missing. So with a prompt template, that is exactly what we need to do before we use it. So before we use this template, I'm going to try and use it again. So I'm now going to populate my template with the variables to make the prompt specific to the task that I needed to do. So now, first year, okay. So the level of students is first year. The topic, I'm just going to use information literacy as an example. Literacy, okay. And the duration, I will just say 45 minutes. All right, and then the instruction, my template carries on with the instruction, instructing the chatbot to provide a lesson plan that offers an overview of the topic. Okay, so I'm not. So if you want, you can carry on, just duplicate the topic or just remove that as you see fit. Overview, offers an overview and suggest a practical exercise. Okay, so now what I'm doing here, I am customizing a template that may be available. As I've shared it with you on the chat, you can customize it for your suitable lecture and topic and level of students and so on. So the purpose of having a template is so that if I have another lecture request on a different topic, on a different group of students, I don't go and create or write the prompt from scratch, but I already have a prompt library with all the different tasks and objectives that I would like to do, that I can easily replace the placeholder variables with the actual details of the task that I need. Okay, so now I'm just going to click send so that we can generate a lesson plan with the details that I've provided. Okay.
It
Oh,
looks like you've exceeded your queries.
okay. All right, that's so unfortunate. But as I've mentioned earlier, the impact of using more than one model, as I have done, is exactly this, is that you will exhaust your limited tokens and all these limited prescriptions of the free version. Then you end up having this message that says you have exceeded your limit. All right. But in any case, I think I did in my chat history, I did make use of some of my loaded prompts, but it was a different one. I hope it can still generate the previous response. And I did make it on 2 models. Okay. It looks like I had done it on 1 model. Okay, so my previous response, my previous testing of a prompt template, I have another template which is on the monthly creation, the monthly awareness of observing Breast Cancer Awareness Month or cybersecurity or any other month that is worth observing. So I've preloaded the template here and I've tried to test it before. So what I did with my template, which is over here, I just went and inserted the details of the month that I would like to observe. In this case, I inserted breast cancer awareness. And obviously, I'm at the University of the Western Cape. So I want the post to align and be written in the context of the University of the Western Cape. So this is the response that came up. This is the response. So the instruction or the task was to create a social media post observing breast cancer awareness at the University of the Western Cape Library. And this is the output that the chat generated. So it goes on to say October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Yeah, and all those. Obviously, if I had specified which social media I'm referring to, remember with Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, there's also character limitations. I would just add on or adjust my template so that it's suitable for the different social media platforms. So if you remember last week, we spoke about evaluating your prompts, re-evaluating and adjusting them. So if I had noticed that, okay, from here, Max AI is generating just a generic social media post, but if I were to post this on Twitter, X, for example, I would exhaust my limit. So I would need a shorter version of the response. Then I would perhaps want to customize my template to say exactly which media platform I want to use this on, so that I don't do that when I actually want the result. So I can generate one from LinkedIn, for X, for Facebook, and any other social media platforms. And obviously, with those parameters, then the bot would be able to give me an output that will be suitable for the limited number of characters on the platform. Okay, so it's a good thing that I had made the previous test of the templates as we were presented with the limit exhaustion error message. Okay, so that is customizing a prompt. So if you notice those ones that okay, I will do that, Natasha. So the prompts or the templates that are on this screen are the ones that you can also use to go and create your own prompts library on Max AI, which is what we'd like to build up on towards next week, where you try and explore as many templates as possible, create them, adjust them as you see fit, and then next week we can talk about the customized prompts and perhaps create the central resource that we had planned to complete or achieve by the end of these workshop series. So this is just a start that is on the chat, but you can add more and also just pay attention to the limitation of Max AI. And if it happens that you find another AI chatbot that has the ability to store your prompts, then please let us know and we can share amongst each other. For now, we had only came across the Max AI one, which is able to store your templates, allow you to customize them and reuse them. Okay, so, all right, Janusz, I think I've completed my part. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thanks, Annalisa. Okay, so here you can see a couple of examples of pretty much what Annalisa has shown you already. So to just emphasize what Annalisa said, wanting to go about actually creating a shared prompt library of templates that we can share amongst our librarian community. So we are planning to make use of what the platform at the LibGuide that we've been using for this workshop and evolve it into a gateway for a prompt library. So we will send out a request and links and so on, so that if you do have prompt templates that you have created, or even if you just have a suggestion of a prompt template that you think would be useful, then please, we would appreciate that kind of feedback. Okay, so that is, sorry, I'm really having a few IT glitches here. Okay, so that's just going, okay, so basically we're really looking for achieving our own prompt competence. So the goal of our session is basically to kind of understand the information that the AI models need, how to structure that information correctly, and then tweak them, because these models evolve, and they actually evolve pretty quickly. There's already a new updated ChatGPT that's coming out shortly. Gemini is now available in South Africa through that is the Google one, and so which unfortunately is a little limited. And then so what we basically we are just looking at the summary. So we looked at chain of thought. Almost wish we had more time. And then yeah, we touched on the prompt templates. We looked at the prompt writing, how you need to go about refining it, the patterns, persona. There are a whole variety out there. If you wonder, you can just go and ask. It'll tell you what else you can find. And I just want to quickly just show you this particular website, which is it actually going to work? So this is an example of a prompt library. So this is for education. So you may find some of these relevant in our environment. So there are a whole variety here. So for analyzing survey data, very pertinent these days, these AI resistant assessments. So obviously this is a designed for educators, but there are a fair number here that one could probably more than likely uh, adapt for our settings. So if we just take a look at this one quickly, so it's telling you which one to use, and then here you'll see this is the actual prompt. Sorry. So expert researcher, so it gives the AI a persona. Obviously, this would be the topic of your research. So here we've got change management. Describe your role. So you are an assistant so-and-so. Attach the data set. So this would be the uploaded file. In this case, is it what kind of survey it is? and yeah, you're just basically detailing everything that would be necessary based on, and you can see the the depth that you can potentially go to with this kind of template. Obviously, we're not necessarily going to be analyzing survey data every day, and this is why something like a prompt library is particularly useful. So you are sharing this with a variety of other users who may then make use of it. And then that just gives you a few additional. So this is in the link. I will just, in case, I'll just drop it the address into the. Oh, thank you, Sylvester. Um, just trying to think of what there was something else. Okay, so oh, I can't actually show you Gemini because we don't have access via so we can only access it via our personal Google accounts. I don't think there's anything in particular I can add now. If anybody has a question or query, feel free to either raise your hand or pop it in the chat. Otherwise, I think, Lisa, unless you have anything further to add, or Sylvester, I think
Yes,
we
I do.
are. Sylvester, go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Janusz. Do you mind sharing the screen for the e-learning resource? Actually, don't worry, I'm sharing my side. Please confirm if it is visible your side.
Yes, it's visible, Sylvester.
Excellent, thank you. So just a reminder, everyone, if you haven't had a chance to look at the e-learning resource that we are using, which is essentially a LibGuide, we have shared the details in the chat box. A reminder that we are storing all the presentations as well as the recordings of these sessions on this platform. For each of the sessions, we have included just a knowledge check quiz. So if I go to today's session, let me just click on it. Yeah, this is the presentation, which is just a place filler where you will find the recording for today's session. If you refer back to the previous sessions, you'll see under those sessions, there's the recording. The next item will be the presentation that we are using, which you are able to download via these three little dots over here. Then there's also a knowledge check quiz, which is timed. So make sure you understand the content or you have gone through the presentation to take part in it. And you can take part in it multiple times. There's no limit on it. And just a reminder that this is important if you would like a certificate of participation or completion of this workshop series, that you would have to take part in each of these knowledge check quizzes. The closing date will be a week after our last session, so I think sometime the first week in November. We also have a workshop evaluation for each session. We've looked at some of the comments that you've given for our past sessions, and we really appreciate that feedback because it does help should we wish to build on this workshop series in future. Your feedback will help us with designing or redesigning. And then just for today, this is where that shared library that Janusz just showed you, this is essentially what we're trying to work towards, is having a prompt library for librarians. So we will put something in here, like I said, here to be added shortly. So come and check this item within the next few days. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, please drop them in the chat box, or you may unmute yourself.
Thank you, Sylvester. Everyone, I'll just like to offer just a few minutes of any burning questions pertaining to the content of today's session. You can unmute your mic or just quickly drop your question in the chat. Okay.
I do see that Dilshad said that he couldn't hear me. Was that the case for everyone? Annalisa, could you hear me?
I could hear you, Sylvester. Yeah.
Okay. Dilshad, if there's anything that you've missed, it was all to do with the e-learning resource. I hope I'm clear. I hope if you could just confirm if you got the message. But do grab the login details, but I'm sure Annalisa will make sure that it's sent out via the Liasa email. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sylvester. And thank you to everyone for attending. I see there are no questions. It's either we did a great job, or yeah, I don't want to say the latter. But thank you so much, colleagues. If there are any further questions after the session, you've got all our contact details. Please get in touch with us. And obviously, we hope that you learned essential skills in terms of proceeding with our next task, which is to establish a shared prompt library for librarians. So I hope all goes well with that. We will be communicating with you maybe in the next week, just to see, or by looking at the responses we get, just offer some more tips or information or tools, so that by the 25th of October, we do have an actually established a prompt library together. Otherwise, colleagues, thank you so much. Have a good rest, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you so much. We'll see each other on the 25th of October.